How's it going, all you mentees? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for an overview of Origins of Marvel Comics, Marvel Tales #1. What exactly are we looking at? Let's find out together. Before going any further, I do want to give a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us advanced copies of this particular book. So what we're looking at here is the Marvel Tales Origin of Marvel Comics. And we have 4 different covers. It's the exact same book, but with 4 covers. We have the standard edition cover right here. This one is drawn by Nick Bradshaw, as well as the textless cover over here. So this one is the exact same image, except it's bigger, of course, without the Origins of Marvel Comics up at the top. And then we have the Peach Momoko cover right here. This is the Marvel Universe Momoko cover. And then we have this cat cover right here. And this one is drawn by Chrissy Zullo. So the exact same content can be found inside of the book. Now, I wanted to showcase the back of each of these books. You saw the covers, but the biggest difference is this one here, the one with the textless cover by Nick Bradshaw. As a matter of fact, the art wraps around to the spine. Tell right there. And that is the same for the 2 other variant covers, that the art kind of wraps around all the way to the spine of the books. Whereas the standard edition cover, this is the one that's going to be everywhere, has that kind of marble design on it. A little bit like the Marvel Masterworks, if you will. Has this frame around it. But everything else on the inside is the same. So that's what we're going to be looking at here. So what exactly is in here? What is this book about? If you've been collecting comics for a while, and you've stumbled upon comic book stores or comic shows, you may have seen this title before, Origins of Marvel Comics. That idea originally came out in 1974. It was a collection of Marvel comic books, stories like this. You have Fantastic Four #1, Amazing Fantasy #15, X-Men #1, and Avengers #1. And it was considered Marvel's first trade paperback. It was a collection of just stories with an introduction by Stan Lee. At the time, I think it was just Thor and Doctor Strange #1, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and I think Hulk #1, if I'm not mistaken. And it was such a popular thing that eventually they started doing follow-ups to it, like Son of Origins of Marvel Comics. Well, in the Marvel tradition, they brought it back. So this is Marvel Tales, Origins of Marvel Comics. And sadly, Stan's no longer with us, but there is a wonderful introduction here by Ralph Macchio, who was an editor at Marvel Comics for well over 35 years and still does the outros to a lot of the Epic collections and still does forwards for Marvel Masterworks or other type of collections. So it's really cool to see a little bit of the history behind this particular collection. He talks about how different Silver Age comics were at Marvel than any other company. And yeah, if you've read Silver Age comics from every company, you know that the Marvel name really stood out. So we kick it off with Fantastic Four #1, the comic book that, this is the beginning of the Marvel Age. This is the beginning of Silver Age comics to a lot of folks. This is, of course, written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Art Zimek is the letter on this particular issue. Now, this is, again, a story that has been collected in omnibus format, Marvel Masterworks, Epic Collection, Mighty Marvel Masterworks. It's been collected all over the place. And now it's here, being collected in this floppy format. That's one thing I forgot to say, is that this is a floppy edition. So the book retails for $7.99, and it has 96 pages. So it's like your collection of these particular #1s, but done in a more affordable format. And the art in here, touch up, and the colors look like it's the latest scans from the Marvel Masterworks. So this is kind of a sampler, if you will, of what's to come. because we know that we're having the Remasterworks program, and that is coming out next year, where they're reprinting these Marvel Masterworks, starting with number 1 with Spider-Man, and then we're going to get Fantastic Four and X-Men. And speaking of Spider-Man, we do have Amazing Fantasy number 15 collected in here. Again, written by Stan Lee. This time around, it's Steve Ditko doing the art. And I do believe it is Art Simic that letters this one, just from the many times I've talked about these stories. We do have ads in here for other Marvel collections, like this is the Best Marvel Stories by Stan Lee Omnibus. That one came out earlier this month. But this tells the origin of the Fantastic Four. This tells the origin of Spider-Man. And then we have X-Men number 1. And as you probably noticed from Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, the frame is actual comic book panels are being used around the issue. So that's really cool. And then we have, of course, to me, my X-Men. Professor Xavier calling the X-Men in here. Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Paul Rainman, I think it does the inks in this particular issue, and then Sam Rosen is the letterer. Then, of course, we have more ads, but this one's really cool because I love to see omnibus ads. This, of course, being the Adam Warlock omnibus. It's been a long time since I've gotten a single issue, so I haven't gotten a chance to see a lot of ads lately. Collected editions, we don't really get ads in Epic collections, although I would love to see those one day, maybe. Just works like a time machine to go back and look at some of those ads from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. But this is X-Men number 1, introducing you, of course, to the original 5, Jean Grey, Bobby Drake, Warren Worthington III, Hank McCoy, and Scott Summers, along with Professor Charles Xavier fighting Magneto. And this collection ends with the Avengers coming together against one common foe. So it's a story again that has been collected in omnibus editions, Epic collections, and Marvel Masterworks. But this works like a great sampler of things to come, or in case people have ever wanted to read the first appearances of some of these characters. Or I guess it's the first appearance of the Avengers, rather, but because the Hulk and Thor had already appeared elsewhere. But that's what is collected in this particular collection. And we have 96 pages. And then an ad for the dark web that's coming. So with Christmas coming around, I figured this would be a great idea for somebody that has wanted to check out these early issues. Has ever wanted to try out some of the Silver Age dialogue, if you will. Because we all know Stan loved writing dialogue. That's just the way these stories are told. So for anybody that has ever been curious about that, I think this makes for a great taste of what those books are. And then if they get hooked, that's when you're like, oh, let me introduce you to the world of Omnis, Epic collections, Mighty Marvel Masterworks. As a matter of fact, I think, honestly, this would be great for kids, especially when we have covers like these two right here. See, my daughters immediately flocked over to this one with Peach Momoko's art. But the cats, yeah, this one's going to Lydia and this is going to Alicia. But that is it, and then these two will be given away sometime on the channel. But that's it. Thank you so much to David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us these copies. I hope I was able to answer all the questions, but in case you have any more, leave them in the comment section. Everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.